the middle, the play that everybody hates, why we keep running it up the middle, and it's been very effective for Georgia Tech. Well, if you're on the defensive side, that's about as bad as it gets to have to witness that fullback up the middle. That's what the shovel is for teams that don't run the triple option. So that was a pretty miserable day to watch 13 of them go for 74 yards and kind of put us on our heels. But I think we had good success after Ohio State, Virginia Tech, South Carolina. Alabama was smart enough not to put it in. Yeah, Wake Forest tried it. So, yeah.
But is that the fun part of coaching?
If you see it again, zoom in on Coach V. You want to see how I feel about it. And when we stone it, you're going to see, a very small celebration. So.
What do you have to do technically to stop the shovel option?
Just be disciplined. Sit, squeeze, close. They got a guy running away from you in your face. And he's like, you're supposed to see ball, get ball, attack. And so it goes against see ball, get ball. It goes against attack. And so you got to play very disciplined and sit on the line of scrimmage.
Coach, is it a sigh of relief that, you guys finally got a national championship? And how do you stay motivated going into this year?
I don't look at it that way, because to me, to me as a coach, I want to see get improvement. I want to see guys get better from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. I want to see us maximize what we are, what we're capable of being. And the relief always comes at the end of the year when the year's over and you're done with recruiting. And every year you have that. I don't put this pressure like this win at all costs. If you don't win the national championship, that's your failure. And so we finally won it, and now, okay, everything's great now. Every season's a season of its own, and every year's different. And sometimes you're built for it, and sometimes you got to luck into it, and sometimes you have no chance whatsoever. And that's the reality of it. And but I just, for me personally, I'm just very proud to have an association with it, to see the pride. And the joy that people of Clemson had as a result, but most of all, just for the Clemson players. Just I know the fulfillment and the legacy that those guys leave. Their lives as former Clemson players will never be the same, and it's pretty cool to see them be able to experience that.
This is year 6 for you. Is this the most depth you've ever had at linebacker?
I don't know. I don't know. Again, not a lot of guys have played a ton. Jalen and Kendall and Dorian, probably my most experienced guys. And Skowski played just a little. Chad played just a little. Trey played just a little. JD played a little bit. Judah played a little bit. I don't know. Again, I just, because the depth to me is like experienced, proven. It's, somebody can go in for Kendall Joseph and we're every bit as good. There's no drop off. I don't know that today. I don't know that, and we might be, but I don't today. I can't say that that's the case.
Coach, you had Balin and Logan in the spring. Can you talk about some of these guys that just got to campus and how excited are you to get your hands on them?
Well, Balin really surprised me. Balin was an athlete, played quarterback, receiver, played some corner, played a little bit of safety. They played him as the Wildcat guy at Calhoun, comes from a great program, but never really majored or settled in anything. And so to say, all of a sudden, you're going to be this great linebacker in the first spring on campus in college would have been a stretch. And he really exceeded our expectations, one with his knowledge, his feel, his ability to get off of blocks, something they hadn't had to do a ton. And then he really was a physical player this spring. And tough guy, easy to coach, very mature. A lot of guys, they come in and they have to mature. And he's still maturing, but it was really effortless to coach him this spring. So I was really pleased on a lot of levels with Balin. And I think he can play more than just the one position. You have to kind of zero in on something day one and for the first time on the field. But we'll look at him in the future to move around some. And then Logan, he's played 1 year high school football on defense. and was at D end. And then so his first time he ever lined up at linebacker was this spring here, and man, he was just terrific. Said very little, worked incredibly hard, didn't know what to do. Found the football, played super physical, and played incredibly hard. A lot of times when you don't know what you're doing, you're out of your comfort zone, you don't look like you're playing hard. You look like you're jogging. That's more the norm than not, and with Balin it was full speed, wide open. And he plays very desperate, again, easy to coach. He's got good quickness and great physical toughness. And we're going to look him, because of the things that happened with Jurgen, we're going to look at him at D end as well. And, something that he did very well in high school. So he's been working nonstop to bridge that gap in, his knowledge base and being ready for fall camp.
You've had the same faces in the coaches room most of the way on this climb. How have Mickey and Todd fit into the group dynamic?
Oh, great. They're both humble guys, hard-working, very intelligent, passionate, not big egos. So they've been able to blend in. They paid attention. When they, Todd, when he was here at multiple camps in the summertime, and certainly Mickey being in our meeting rooms for the last couple of years, understanding our defense and our schemes, they fit in very well. And to this point, it's been real seamless. And to me, how you're defined as a coach is how you're able to help your players. And so it's one to know the playbook and to be able to teach it in an orderly fashion. Now the experience of what Hobby and Dan Brooks had was pretty special. And so many times they had been there, done that. And matter of fact, they had already planned ahead of it because, one, they know the ACC, they know schemes, they know our defense, they know their players, their strengths, their weaknesses, and so you plan ahead and plan accordingly to attack those issues well before you get to those points. And so that'll be, that part of it will be work in progress because we're not there yet. And you don't have that experience with your players at the same depth level.
It's a little bit odd, maybe in the spring, not seeing Marion and Dan out there.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. But absolutely, they're dear friends and terrific coaches, great mentors for the players, and all the success that we've had have been a big part, in large part, because of our assistants and all of us collectively working together. And I get far too much credit, and I'm nothing without those guys. And they're the ones coaching and developing their players.
How does that work this year with having just one guy on the field
Yeah.
for the defensive line when you've had two ever since you've been here?
Well, we have a couple of graduate assistants. That's where they'll spend their time as well. So guys that Fulmer that had played here, and Zach Alley has been in our meetings for 4 years now, and has worked with Coach Brooks as well. So those guys will do a good job of not only just being kind of bridging the gap and helping run drills because they have great familiarity, but also adding scheme-wise, technique-wise to the conversation. But I think between the three of them, and myself included, being a fourth, we'll be able to do a good job there.
Have you in the last couple years had to jump in there, or is this going to be something?
A little bit. No. When I've had to, certainly, how we're going to defend certain schemes and things like that. Big picture stuff, and sometimes details and the technique. But those guys were really good at what they did. So jump in when I felt like I had to. Probably more at the very beginning than at any time. This is what we want. And now go do it.
I had an ACC head coach tell me last week, the media doesn't talk a lot about Kendall Joseph, but you better believe opposing coaches know him. What is value to you as a player and the kind of player he is?
Yeah, very passionate, very consistent, very, Grady Jarrett-like. Makes all the plays he's supposed to. He's hard on himself, so I don't have to coach him hard and correct him much. He knows it already. He's just a very natural, instinctual player behind the ball, good, strong tackler, and very prideful in his work, how he goes about his business, super low maintenance, His mama Stephanie is as tough as they come, very supportive, and his dad as well. And comes from a great family, and then was coached very well over at BHP by Coach Blackstone. And so real humble, hard-working, players have great respect for him. So it's a great comfort when you have that as kind of your cornerstone. And then you also had a guy with the playmaking ability and the experience that Dorian O'Daniel has, amongst others. We got a very good group in regards to things I can testify on: passionate, work ethic, toughness, low maintenance, serving one another, understanding the standard, just, detail guys that dot the I's and cross the T's. So as a coach, I've got great comfort in knowing those things. And again, same thing I talked about on the radio earlier. Can they sustain the grind of a season? Ben Bulwer led that way, and it's easy to start to see how many teams you see out there in college football. They start the season strong. They're 5-0, but they can't sustain that grind. They can't handle success. Whether that's maturity, whether that's coaches, whether that's not taking care of their bodies the right way, whether it's not watching the extra film all the way. You're taking a team that maybe not everybody else respects. Maybe it's a team you're favored by 4 touchdowns, and not taking that team, taking that team for granted. Those are the things I'm talking about: sustaining the grind and the work ethic, through the course of a 4-month season. It's hard to do, man. It's really hard, and that's what you see. And they weren't quite as good in 15. We didn't sustain the grind. We had enough guys not sustaining that grind all the way to the end that was